Moltes gràcies. Se sent? Sí? Bon vespre. I guess I'm the last obstacle between you and dinner. So at least I'll try to give you some food for thought before the real food. So first of all, I would like to thank IESE and Conscious Capitalism for inviting ACCIÓ to be part of this conference. This conference leitmotif really resonates to us because, as it's been said, we are the competitiveness agency from the government, so fighting inequality is in government's DNA. But I'm from the competitiveness agency, I'm not from the welfare department. I'm not from the economic department dealing with taxes. So I'm here to talk about competitiveness and fighting inequality from a competitiveness point of view. So, as it's been said, my career has been related to cluster development, so I would like to tell you what's the story in Catalonia about cluster development related to creating shared value. Okay, so I'm going to talk about two things. I'm a man, usually men talk about one thing, so I would like to talk about two things, clusters and shared value, and related to fighting inequality. Catalonia has a long history related to cluster development. We started in 1992. You know that this concept was coined by Harvard professor Michael Porter, 1990. Basically, clusters are a new way of understanding your economy, a new glasses to understand your economy, not through macro sectors, but through micro realities. Clusters are value chains of companies. Clusters are concentrations of critical mass of competitive advantage. Basically, Porter was called by the US president in the 80s and told him, please go to Japan and understand what's going on with Japan. Because the Americans were really worried about Japanese industry related to automotive and consumer electronics. And Porter said, okay, I'm going to analyze Japan, but also I want to understand the competitiveness model of different countries. And Porter studied small countries such as Switzerland, such as Denmark, such as South Korea or Singapore, and broke the conventional wisdom in economics. Until that time, powerful countries were the ones with long populations and very strong in natural resources, and Porter understood that the small countries could be very competitive, like the ones that I said, because they were specialized in different industries that were located in specific places. And he called these realities clusters. My former boss at the time, 1992, professor at IESE, Antoni Subirà, was one of the first politicians worldwide to see the potential of this theory into an industrial policy. And that was the start 1992 of this policy in Catalonia. I've been in office for 28 years with the current change, 14 ministers from 3 different political parties, no interruption in the cluster policy. 28 years, 14 ministers from 3 different political parties. I don't know in your countries, in this country, this is exceptional. As I said, a cluster is a critical mass of competitive advantage of related industries, not identical industries, that they share a proximity. It's interesting that, as it was said, I was in Harvard last March, and research shows that even after the COVID, location matters. So a company that is competitive worldwide, it is usually related to being strong at home. So location matters. And place-based policies are, I would say, more important than ever before. And in clusters, there is collaboration and also rivalry. Clusters are the result of economic history. In Catalonia, we have clusters since the Middle Ages, but also the result of differential capabilities to help a country facing challenges for the future. We are very happy to be strong in water technologies. I know you come from different countries, you know the severe drought that is affecting the south of Europe, I would say Europe in general, I would say many countries in the world, that we have almost 200 companies and research centers specialized in water technology. You know, now I'll go to sleep a little bit happier than if we didn't have this cluster. So this is also related to facing the future. Our current portfolio consists of 27 value chains with around 3,000 companies. To give you a figure, 80 billion euros. This is a little bit more than 20% of Catalan GDP. For the ones of you who come from abroad, Catalonia has the same GDP as Finland. So I'm not here to tell you about anecdotes. I'm here to tell you about an impact on 20% of the Finnish GDP, which equals the Catalan GDP. Grand challenges demand action by many who are coordinated, and it's a bit what we try to do at the cluster level. This works as a community of learning, a community that learns from best practices. So if we inject strategic thinking to fight inequality in several clusters, this is the benchmark for the other ones with a potential impact, as I said, in 20% of the GDP. The key word worldwide, when we speak about clusters, is cooperation. In Catalonia is strategy. Our approach is to use clusters as a model to sophisticate companies' strategy using cooperation as a tool, never as a goal. And this has been recognized for Porter in his bestseller on competition, chapter 7 from 1998. So it's about understanding the global challenges of fashion and then promoting change in fashion companies. It's about understanding the challenges of beauty companies and then promoting change in specific companies. It's about understanding the challenges of mobility companies and then promoting change. 1992 was the start. What happened in 2011? I think that nobody knew that today was the day that you said about inequality. I don't know if you know why 2011 is important. It's important for at least for a couple of things. I don't know if it's the year of awakening, but at the cover of The Economist, welcome to the Anthropocene. Basically, humans have put ourselves at the center of the planet. And now we have to think about how we change this position. It's not about when the Anthropocene era started. It's more important to try to figure out when the Anthropocene era might end. 2011, Harvard Business Review, Professor Michael Porter with Mark Kramer, they coined the concept share value. I think it's interesting that Harvard, that probably trained many of the sharks that created the financial crisis 2008, is the core of people like Porter saying that the social good is important in terms of competitiveness. I think it's quite interesting. It's almost, I would say, symmetrical to be here at the Stock Exchange today speaking about fighting inequality, which I think is something quite poetic. But anyway, 2011 was an important year. This concept of shared value basically starts from understanding that grand challenges at the societal level cannot be solved only from the public sector or NGOs. We need the private sector because there is more, resources involved, and I would say executive capacity. So this concept is about a symbiotic relationship between EBITDA and the social good. We're not approaching CEO saying you have to do the social good because the good of the society and the planet. We're approaching CEO saying you have to do the social good because this is better for your EBITDA. And the impact is completely different. This is not a concept related to philanthropy, it's a concept related to strategy. That's why there is somebody from the competitiveness agency speaking before dinner and not somebody from the welfare department speaking before dinner. You would probably be sleeping right now. It's not the case. No, I'm joking. So how does this fit with our model? We're using clusters, a kind of a school of strategy. This is a picture of 40 CEOs from a specific business. Shared value is adding a social component to strategy. So it fits very well in what we've been doing. And basically our program consists of helping companies creating the shared value through clusters using a toolbox that consists of different methodologies such as B Corp, which is one of the methodologies that we like the most because this is one of the most sophisticated tools worldwide. We like B Corp because it helps us deploying goodwill into excellence in management. I'm not going into details. There are fantastic B Corps in the room. Quadpac, Cashkeeper, Veritas, for instance. So you can ask them about that. But basically, regarding inequality, there are some questions related to workers and salary range between the highest salary in the company and the lowest salary in the company, or related community, which means that if you're a fashion company with providers in Bangladesh, they're analyzing what salaries are you paying to your providers in Bangladesh. So I think it's very well connected to today's theme. We have a transformation program trying to create the shared value through the different clusters: sports, wine, mobility, fashion, tech, tourism, so on and so forth. At two levels. Wine is a joint level, so a cooperative level, trying to find new business opportunities at the core of shared value and the current business of this company. And then we try to coach individual companies getting to apply these B Corp tools. The ones that go to the end, as this is quite demanding, we call them finishers, like if you run a marathon and you get to the end. So far, after the last 4 years, more than 1,500 companies with more than 200 finishers, some logos of some of the attendees here today. We also try to foster projects. This is the wine sector. This is the wine value chain. I don't know if you know about wine, apart from the wine that is, waiting over there. There is somebody from one of the 3 most important wine companies in Catalonia here today. There is this issue about paying a fair price to growers. From the wine cluster, we are working in an online marketplace in order to have a new, life for those grapes that are not entering the current market in order to get fairer prices. So inequality is also about inequality throughout the value chain, and the cluster approach, I guess, that fits very well in those. Also, equality is about gender. And there is somebody here today also from the mobility cluster. We have this project, Woman on the Move, because the mobility sector is very masculine. So there is this working group and also projects from the mobility cluster in order to understand how women can have the position that they deserve in the mobility sector. Here, one of the leaders, Laia. And also, equality is about understanding the diversity of different people. From the digital cluster, we carried out a project trying to understand new digital skills from people who suffer from autism, which basically have some skills that the ones that we don't have autism don't have. So let's see it in a positive way. This is also a question of equality related to diversity. To end up, why B Corp as part of our approach? I think that we are moving forward a wall of 2 extremes: activist companies and poisonous companies, okay? IBEX 35 is the, stock exchange in the Spanish exchange with the biggest companies. Basically, the ones having the highest salary, they have a salary range which is 80 times the ones in those companies with the lowest salaries. B Corp companies, 66%, they have a salary range lower than 5. Gender equality. In Spain, 35% of executive positions belong to women. B Corp companies, 52% of them, the majority of executives are women. Territorial equality or proximity. There has been this, distortion in international value chains after COVID. 46% of B Corp companies purchase more than 40% to local providers. So equality is also an important issue at the territorial level. And we also have our day. So today it was the day of equality, you said. We have our day, which is the Enterprise Day, which started 3 years ago, basically to award the best Catalan company. And the best Catalan company is awarded following this model. First year, the award was given to Veritas here today. Second year to Alié, a paper manufacturer. Last year to Salto. Companies that are excellent in fighting inequality, in having specific salary ranges, in having women at the top position, so on and so forth. So awarding companies using this model, I guess this is something important in Catalonia. It's not an executive from the competitiveness agency, it's the president of Catalonia handing out an award using this model. So I guess this is also something exceptional at the policy level. I would like to end up, there has been also some comments about technology. Can be technology an inequality fighter? If we see these two examples, the answer is no. Is technology good or bad? Technology is a mirror of who we are. When technology is bad, it's because we are bad, because the ones designing these algorithms are white men who are 45 years old. If you're not a man, white, or 45, the algorithm says that you are suspicious. Okay? I'm not joking. This is demonstrated. There is in Netflix, there is also a program on that. So technology is a fantastic tool to fight equality if we give the right messages. If we don't do so, indeed it's not the right tool. Our grants for R&D from the government are increasingly taking into account the social impact of technology and not only technological superiority. This is a way to achieve this. The purpose revolution, some pictures from the last 3 years. We brought key people from abroad. Raj Sisodia, father of the conscious capitalism. Mark Kramer from Harvard, one of the founders of B Corp, people from Patagonia. It's a way to approach this international, thinking to Catalan SMEs. We've done this over the last 3 years and we'll continue to do so. And we are more than proud that last March we've been to Harvard because Harvard Business School just published a case on the Catalan cluster model after this 30 years approach. And the case ends up with a paragraph on the work on shared value. So for us, this is not a way to think that we are fantastic. This is fantastic to keep improving, which is not the same. More than words, we are convinced on walking the talk and keep doing what I just told you that we've been doing over the last year. So if anybody wants to know more, if there are no time for questions, I'll be around today and tomorrow. Moltes gràcies.